unfinished conversation about race in America. Dyson will discuss Jay-Z, LeBron James, Ta-Nehisi Coates, and Wakanda, as in Black Panther. KPFA producer Kevin Cartwright will host this KPFA benefit Thursday evening, June 14th, 7:30 at First Congregational Church, 2501 Harrison in Oakland. There's free parking and wheelchair access. Get tickets at Marcus Books, brownpapertickets.com, and many independent bookstores. For Michael Eric Dyson, June 14th.
Good evening. You're listening to 94.1 KPFA Berkeley, 89.3 KPFB Berkeley, 88.1 KFCF Fresno, 97.5 K248 BR Santa Cruz, and online at kpfa.org. The time is 9:01 p.m. Stay tuned for Suspense.
Tonight, we take pleasure in bringing you Suspense, a weekly anthology of notable melodramas from stage and screen, fiction and radio, presented each week to bring you to the edge of your chair, to keep you in suspense. There are certain things that are just archetypically American, like apple pie, baseball, rock and roll. One such piece of Americana is the cook-off, or cooking contest. There isn't a state fair or a holiday celebration anywhere in the country that doesn't have some sort of food-related competition as a centerpiece of the festivities. The focus of each cook-off may vary. Entrees, meats, chili, desserts, baked goods, soups, and so may the stakes. From the $1 million prize awarded in the annual Pillsbury Bake-Off to the blue ribbons handed out in thousands of small towns. But one constant amidst those variables is the fierceness of the competition among normally mild-mannered women and men, and the lengths to which some contestants will go to assure victory may indeed be difficult to swallow.
Good afternoon. Can I help you, ladies?
Hello. I'm Ethel McGrory.
And I'm Doris Jean Fowler.
We're the unofficial welcoming committee, and we just wanted to stop by and say, welcome to Poseyville.
Oh, why, isn't that nice? Very glad to make your acquaintance, ladies. I'm Pepper Madison.
Good to meet you, Mrs. Madison. It is Mrs. Madison, isn't it?
But of course. And what's that you have there, Mrs. McGrory?
Oh, just a welcome basket for you, filled with some of our simple fare, breads, preserves, a mincemeat pie. All homemade, of course.
Well, my heavens. It looks simply scrumptious. All homemade, you say?
Yeah. Ethel here is quite the cook. In fact, she's won the blue ribbon in the Poseyville 4th of July cook-off 3 years running.
Why, that's just a few days away. Mrs. McGrory, you must feel very confident about your chances.
Well, I don't know. Doris Jean here makes quite the shepherd's pie.
Oh, horse feathers. Ethel's the best cook in the whole county. Nope. I'm more comfortable in the garden than in the kitchen. Why, almost all the ingredients for Ethel's entry are coming right out of my garden. Let's see. There's basil, rosemary, turnips.
Doris Jean, you're giving away my recipe.
Won't you ladies come in and have a cool glass of lemonade? This weather is just so hot.
It's the humidity.
Oh, we wouldn't dream of bothering you while you're getting settled in.
Well, why don't y'all come back tomorrow for a nice little luncheon? I'd love the chance to cook for my new neighbors and learn all the rich history of Poseyville.
We'd be delighted.
Yes, we'd be delighted. How nice of you to ask.
Fun. Shall we say tomorrow at 12?
It's a date. Can we bring anything?
Oh, that's quite all right. I have everything I need right here. Especially now that you and Mrs. McGrory have given me this lovely basket.
Wonderful. See you then, Mrs. Madison.
Until then, ladies.
Ethel, what's the matter with you? You were so short with Mrs. Madison, and she seemed so nice.
Oh, I know, but did you have to accept that lunch invitation?
Well, why not?
Did you see her hands? Perfectly manicured. I swear I could still smell the red nail lacquer. She probably can't even boil water. Now we have to have luncheon. She'll probably serve us Swanson TV dinners off the top of a packing crate.
Speaking of which, did you get a load of the high heels?
Oh.
And pearls, no less. Do you think she's unpacking boxes like that?
Yeah, and she probably vacuums in high heels, too.
Oh, just like June Cleaver.
Okay, so we'll grin and bear it. Just make sure to eat a hearty breakfast before we go over.
Right. See you in the morning, Ethel. Ethel, you're supposed to dab a little of that toilet water behind your ears, not bathe in it.
Oh, and you're one to talk. I haven't seen you wearing that much cheek rouge since our junior prom.
Well, there's nothing wrong with a lady getting herself a little done up every now and then.
A little? Why, Doris Jean, are those the pearl earrings Walt got you for your 30th anniversary? The only time I've seen you wear those is when the governor visited Poseyville in 53.
Oops, it's 12 o'clock on the button. We should get going. We wouldn't want to be late after all.
Are you that excited to have frozen Salisbury steak and peas?
Let's just hope she knows how to turn the oven on. Otherwise, we really will be eating frozen TV dinners.
Well, we shouldn't keep our Southern belle waiting.
Welcome, Mrs. Fowler, Mrs. McGrory. How are you both?
Oh, just fine, Mrs. Madison.
Yes, we were just discussing how much we were looking forward to this luncheon.
Well, it is my pleasure to be able to host you both. Please come in and make yourselves at home. I just need to check the oven.
Checking the oven. Hopefully that means she figured out how to turn it on.
Oh, hush, Ethel. We need to... Would you look at this place, Ethel?
I'm looking. I'm looking.
She just moved in.
And she's already unpacked and organized.
Why, this house is spotless. And you know how long it was sitting empty after Mr. Kavanaugh, God bless his soul, passed on.
Oh, well, that's just the downstairs. She probably just piled everything upstairs so we wouldn't see.
I suppose you're right. After all, it's not like she's some Wonder Woman.
I want a girl like the girl that's married.
Ladies, luncheon is served.
Try not to choke on the frozen peas.
She was the pearl and the only girl that Daddy...
We have Waldorf salad and shrimp cocktails to get us started. Now, I'll be right out with the main course.
What a spread.
Oh, anyone can make a salad.
And look at the place settings.
She probably just saw it in Better Homes and Gardens. It certainly doesn't mean she can cook.
And here's our main course.
Oh, it smells delicious. What is it, Mrs. Madison?
Oh, it's just an old family recipe. Steak and kidney pudding.
The crust is so perfectly flaky.
Oh, I'm afraid it's nowhere near as good as my mama's. Still, I don't think we'll perish from hunger.
Frozen Salisbury steak, huh?
Let's just see how it tastes before making any judgments, shall we, Doris Jean? The proof is in the pudding, after all.
Right now, though, Dad. Launch out on another stroll through Songland, huh?
I do hope the luncheon was to your liking, ladies.
Mrs. Madison, the steak and kidney pudding was amazing. I can't believe we ate the whole thing. Whatever is your secret?
Oh, it's the meat. If you start with a young and very tender cut, you can't go wrong.
Well, I can honestly say that was the best meal I've had in ages. Wasn't it, Ethel?
It was wonderful, Mrs. Madison.
Oh, well, thank you kindly. It was the very least I could do for my new neighbors, especially when you went to all that bother to wear your Sunday finest.
Do you like Doris Jean's dress? She made it herself.
Oh, Ethel.
Doris Jean is the best seamstress in Poseyville. Why, she sews all the costumes for the grammar school Christmas pageant.
Oh, it's lovely. Now, that's the Butterick 6015 pattern, isn't it? It's the walkaway dress, right?
Why, yes, it is, Mrs. Madison. Do you sew as well?
No, just a bit. And you did such a neat job on those seams, Mrs. Fowler. I can see why the children must love your work.
Did you make that dress you're wearing, Mrs. Madison?
This? Yes.
Really? I don't recognize the pattern. Is it McCall's?
Oh, no, it's just a little something I whipped up myself.
A little something? Why, it's exquisite. Don't you think so, Doris Jean?
Oh, yes, it's beautiful, Mrs. Madison. You should be proud of your handiwork.
Well, thank you, ladies.
In fact, Doris Jean here had better look out. This Christmas, it might be you making the children's costumes.
Oh, now that's silly. They already have a fine seamstress in Mrs. Fowler.
I'm terribly sorry, but I just remembered an errand that I must run before 2 o'clock. Will you please excuse me, Mrs. Madison?
Yes, I should be going as well.
Oh, well, but of course, ladies. But thanks for coming. You're both welcome anytime.
And thank you, Mrs. Madison. We both had a delightful time.
Yes, thank you.
Mrs. Madison, you don't have any children, do you?
No, not yet. Why do you ask, Mrs. McGrory?
Because of that boy's baseball cap hanging next to the door.
Yeah, it's a cap for the Lowry's market team.
Oh, that. Well, I hired a young boy to help me move a few items around the house, and he forgot his ball cap when he left. He'll be back for it presently, I suppose.
But of course. Well, thank you again.
Yes. Thank you, Mrs. Madison.
My pleasure. Please come back soon.
Is the saving grace for mothers with boys or anybody who washes clothes.
And surgeons, Dr. Charles Mayo once said,
Land's sake, Ethel. Sneaking in like that. It's enough to give a body a heart attack. Did you see this morning's paper? No. After our lunch with Mrs. Madison yesterday, I decided to make a new dress from scratch. I'm working on it ever since.
How's it coming along?
So what were you saying about the morning paper?
To help you do this
read
easily,
this.
The House of Squibb has created a safe, effective tooth powder.
4th of July sale at the Broadway. Half off on ladies' dresses. Oh, that's a low blow, Ethel.
Not that, Doris Jean. The article below it.
Search underway for missing Poseyville boy. Teddy Norton, age 10.
Look at the photo.
Tooth powder cleans your teeth better
maybe.
than anything you've ever used.
Nope, doesn't ring a bell.
Oh, is he Verna Norton's boy? His cap. Look at his ball cap.
No more.
Why, he's wearing the Lowry's market ball cap.
Same as the one that was hanging by Mrs. Madison's door.
Ethel, I still don't see what you're getting at.
Don't you remember how nervous she got when we asked about the cap? And you know how those kids are about their team uniforms. A boy wouldn't just forget his prized team ball cap.
You've never had a boy around the house, have you?
Just what's that supposed to mean?
It means that boys lose things all the time, including ball caps.
So you don't think that Mrs. Madison had something to do with Teddy Norton's disappearance?
What? Oh, Ethel, that's ridiculous. What would Mrs. Madison want with a little boy?
Well...
What's she gonna do with Teddy? Cook him up in a pie like Hansel and Gretel?
Okay. Maybe I'm...
Oh, hold that thought, Ethel. Hello? Oh, hi, Norma. Yes, she's right here. I'll put her on. It's for you.
Hi, Norma. What can I do for you? What's that? She is? She what? Norma, I have to go. Thanks for calling.
What was that all about?
Norma wanted to let me know that our new neighbor, Mrs. Madison, just signed up for the cook-off.
Oh, afraid of a little competition, are we?
That's not it at all. But do you know what she's making?
No. What?
Something she calls kid stew.
What?
That's right. Kid stew.
Oh, Ethel. That's just... I mean, the very idea...
We don't have a minute to spare. We have to go to Mrs. Madison's right now.
But I'm not even dressed.
Doris Jean!
I am not going out looking like this. Give me 15 minutes to get these rollers out of my hair and slap on some more paint.
Look, Fine. Meet me out front in 15 minutes. You're bringing her flowers?
Well, we needed some excuse to stop by, so I thought bringing a thank you bouquet would do the trick. Unless you have a better idea.
All right. Let's just do this. Now remember, keep an eye out for anything suspicious.
Good morning, ladies. Oh, my, what a lovely bunch of flowers.
Yes, we wanted to drop by and thank you for the wonderful luncheon yesterday. We were so...
Oh, I do thank you, ladies. It's ever so kind of you. But I'm afraid I can't talk right now. I've decided to enter the cook-off, and the dish I'm making requires my undivided attention.
But
I'll see you both tomorrow. Now, thanks again for the bouquet.
Did you see what I saw?
How could I miss it? That stain on her apron, it looked like
blood.
Ladies and gentlemen, this year's Poseyville 4th of July cook-off has been the best yet, and we have just 2 entries remaining. First up, the blue ribbon winner for 3 years running, Mrs. Ethel McCrory. This year, Mrs. McCrory has gone with an exotic taste all the way from India. Roast chicken with apple chutney. And now the judges and myself will sample Mrs. McCrory's dish.
So how do you like your chances, Ethel?
Oh, Doris Jean. How can you even think of some silly contest at a time like this? That poor little Norton boy. I tell you, Doris Jean, it just breaks my heart. But did you see the look on the mayor's face when he chiseled off a slab of Violet Abercrombie's Yankee pot roast? This should be my easiest win yet.
Ooh, they're about to take a bite.
Oh, I can't look. Doris Jean, tell me what they think.
Well, I think the chutney might be a little too spicy for Old Man Barber.
Oh, no.
But the other judges seem to like it, especially the mayor. He's nodding his head and smiling like a cat who swallowed the canary.
Really?
Look for yourself if you don't believe me.
Doris Jean, I just couldn't.
Oh, for Pete's sake, just look.
Well, they do seem to be enjoying it. Like I said, this should be my easiest win yet.
But there's still Mrs. Madison's entry.
Doris Jean, I am surprised at you. Are you forgetting what's in that kid stew of hers? One bite and the mayor will be running for the lavatory. Oh, Ethel, shouldn't we tell them? Tell them what? We don't have any evidence to show them. Besides, I want to see that show-off get her comeuppance in front of the whole town. Don't you?
Well,
did you hear? Gladys tells me Mrs. Madison also designed the dress she's wearing right now.
It's time.
And now, a late entry by the newest resident of our happy little town, Mrs. Pepper Madison. Mrs. Madison's dish is an old favorite of hers called Kid Stew.
Oh, I can't watch.
Then why are you looking right at them?
Get ready, Doris Jean. What's going on?
If I didn't know better, I'd swear they love it.
But that's not possible.
Well, possible or not, that is what's happening. Oh, my word. Is the mayor asking for seconds?
We need to find a policeman right now.
But you said we couldn't go to the police because we didn't have any evidence.
Doris Jean, we have to get justice for little Teddy.
And this has nothing to do with the fact that Mrs. Madison is about to win the cook-off?
Come on!
Oh, all right.
Tick-tock, tick-tock, hickory-dickory-dock. Ooh, it's time to beat the clock. Time for fun has now begun. Let's all play beat the clock.
Hurry! Officers, hurry!
Look, Mrs.
McGrory! Ethel McGrory! Surely you know who I am. I'm the winner of the annual cook-off.
You were the winner of the annual cook-off.
Officers, we believe a murder has been committed.
A murder? Here in Poseyville. Who's the victim?
That little missing boy, Teddy Norton.
The Norton kid? His parents say he's run away before. He'll come back in a day or two.
Oh, no, he won't. Because Mrs. Pepper Madison killed him.
What? What proof do you have?
The proof is in that pot of so-called kid stew sitting right next to the judging stand.
Kid stew? Mrs. McGrory, have you been hitting the sauce?
Why, I never.
Well, there was that time.
There she is! Mrs. Madison! Arrest her!
Officer Ferretti, what's the meaning of this?
Sorry, Mayor. But this lady says that Mrs. Madison here killed a little boy.
And then cooked him up in that kid stew you're eating.
Mrs. McGrory, are you insane?
Wait a second. That smell. I know that smell.
Don't eat that!
Holy moly! I haven't had this since I was a kid. Back in Italy before the war, my grandmother would make this for me.
Your grandmother cooked people?
What? No. This kid stew, it's made from young goat. You know, a kid.
What?
If you two ladies are quite finished, the winner of this year's Poseyville 4th of July cook-off is Mrs. Pepper Madison.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Thank you.
Well, I'll be.
Actually, you ladies were half right. Only it wasn't the kid stew that had the secret ingredient. It was the steak and kidney pudding I made you for lunch. Now aren't you glad you had seconds?
So ends Proof in the Pudding by John C. Alzadek and Dana Perry Hayes. Tonight's story of Suspense. Suspense is produced by Blue Hours Productions. Tonight's drama was written especially for Suspense by John C. Alzadek and Dana Perry Hayes. Adrian Wilkinson was Pepper Madison. Christina Joy Howard was Ethel McGrory. Dana Perry Hayes was Doris Jean Fowler. Johnny Francis Wolfe was the mayor, Rocky Serda was Officer Ferretti, and Eric Kelly was Officer Hughes. I'm Daamen Krall. Next week at this time, tune in for another study in Suspense.
Well, let me tell you about the Ashtons, the cracker millionaires. Mystery's most macabre is the fateful job they share. You say you've got a problem. Well, they're the ones to call. Ancient mummies, giant rats, slaying ghouls and vampire bats. A mystery's most macabre. Mystery's most macabre. Incorporated mystery's most macabre. What started as a hobby became a full-time job. Be it voodoo or a hex, I tell you they're the best. Mystery's most macabre. If trouble seems to find you as darkness falls, call mystery's most macabre. Incorporated mystery's most macabre. Maybe they'll give up this business venture, and maybe they'll grow tired of the fight. Or perhaps it is factual, they love the supernatural and things that go bump in the night. May I suggest the Ashtons for the unexplained? From zombies to a ghost, turning mummies into toast. To them it's all the same. Whatever leaves you puzzled, you'll be glad they came. Mystery's most macabre. Incorporated mystery's most macabre. Maybe they'll give up this business venture, and maybe they'll grow tired of the fight. Or perhaps it is factual, they love the supernatural and things that go bump in the night. Mystery's most macabre. Incorporated mystery's most macabre. Mystery's most macabre. Incorporated mystery's most macabre.
Only a few years back, Thomas Frank wrote the New York Times bestseller, What's the Matter with Kansas? Now he asks a similarly damning question about the entire nation. In his new book of scathing commentaries, Rendezvous with Oblivion, he portrays a society, guess which, in the last stages of disintegration, where the obscenely wealthy have persuaded themselves they owe nothing to the rest of us. Major media praises them. KPFA doesn't. Instead, we present Thomas Frank himself Wednesday evening, July 11th, 7:30 p.m. at St. John's Presbyterian Church, 2727 College Avenue in Berkeley. There's wheelchair access and some free parking at this KPFA benefit. Chris Welch will host. Tickets at brownpapertickets.com and our favorite bookstores. Full info on the KPFA website for the superbly satiric muckraker Thomas Frank, here July 11.